We've got the Jeep out here at sunset along the Atlantic Ocean. You know, the 49ers today, we learned from Matt Mayoko that they're going to be wearing white uniforms at home in September because it's so hot at Levi's Stadium. It's actually cooler here in the Hamptons in New York in August still than it will be at Levi's Stadium in September. So the 49ers have dealt with this heat problem for a while. And this year, finally, they're going to wear white uniforms. Against the Cardinals, it's going to be the 94 throwbacks, all white. And then the following week against Jacksonville, that should be the first game with Demarcus Robinson back off of his suspension. The 49ers are going to be wearing their standard whites with gold pants at home. And I don't think that's ever been done outside of the preseason for the 49ers. They wore the throwback whites back in 2019 at home against Carolina. That was a game where Nick Bosa almost had the pick six. It was a, 50-something yard interception return against Kyle Allen and the Panthers. That was Christian McCaffrey's Panthers, actually, back in 2019. But the 49ers will be wearing white jerseys, gold pants, a gold helmet at home against Jacksonville in week 4. So whatever they can do. Last year, they just got gassed by the heat in that early season game against the Arizona Cardinals. That was the game where Jake Moody got hurt. 49ers will be wearing white twice at home. In fact, they're only going to be wearing their standard red combination uniforms, like red, gold pants, 3 times all season. So a lot of white for the 49ers this year. And then the standard reds, they wear 2 games of the red throwbacks with the white pants, but the red gold is only going to happen 3 times, which is obviously a record low for the 49ers when it comes to their standard uniform. Today's event, horse jumping, some serious air here in the Hamptons. This was a lot of fun to watch. It was like the NFL Combine, but for horses. And I think one of the jumpers today was the top ranked in the world. So really neat. And as you know, Lombardi herself, this is at least very related to her sport. She provided some good play-by-play that we can go through in just a little bit. All right, we got some 49ers questions for week 1 before Margot gets to her horse jumping play-by-play. She actually did a great job. We put a mic on her. You could wait till the end of this video. We'll get it up there. But Mike texted me today, and he said, well, what's the carry division going to be like between Brian Robinson Jr. and Christian McCaffrey? And, you know, we're going to probably find out a whole lot more about the 49ers receiver room as this week picks up. Happy Labor Day to everybody. Tomorrow, by the way. It's Sunday evening when we're recording and posting this. But Kendrick Bourne is going to visit the building, and, you know, we'll see what the Juwan Jennings status is. If the 49ers are a little shorthanded at receiver, my proposal to them would be play both Brian Robinson Jr. and Christian McCaffrey and let Christian, a 2-back system, but let Christian split off into the slot and handle some of that receiving load for your team. I mean, why not? Christian is one of I think the best pass catching back in the game. You can throw Seattle into a loop if you've got both of those guys on the field. In fact, back when the 49ers first traded for Christian, that game against the Rams, about, 8-9 days after they acquired McCaffrey from the Panthers, they had both Jeff Wilson Jr. and Christian McCaffrey in the backfield on some plays. So why not go back to something that Kyle Shanahan can lean on? We talk about 21 personnel, 22 personnel, 12 personnel. 22, 2 backs, 2 tight ends. Doesn't always have to be Juszczyk and McCaffrey or Juszczyk and Brian Robinson Jr. It could be Brian Robinson Jr. and Christian McCaffrey. And you know, one thing about Brian is that he's got 65 catches, much more effective receiver than somebody like Jordan Mason. So the defense for the Seahawks won't automatically be able to say, okay, Christian McCaffrey is splitting out to the slot. Brian Robinson can do it sometimes. So you won't be sure who's eligible for the handoff and who's going to be going out for the pass. I think that positional adaptability, we call it positionless skill positions for the 49ers, can go a long way for this football team in this game, where they're definitely going to be shorthanded in some way at wide receiver. And that's just something that we expect for the first part of this season. But they do have McCaffrey, they do have George Kittle, they do have Brian Robinson Jr., and I think they could answer the question of shorthandedness out wide with who they have in those other position groups, because they flex those guys out to the receiver position very, very often. The second one is, how are the 49ers going to handle the Seattle Seahawks run game? Clint Kubiak is going to try to scheme something up like Kyle Shanahan. They got Gray Zabel, somebody who I think the 49ers were interested in. By the way, it's a trip to not see the sunset over the beach, because we're on the East Coast now, Atlantic Ocean, but you could see the sun shining off of some of the buildings behind us because the sun is setting back in the west. But you've got surfers here in the Hamptons, east end of Long Island. You got people having a good time. We got the Jeep back there. I think we've gotten the bonfire started, so I'm gonna go back and show you guys the bonfire before things are all said and done. But what the Seahawks are gonna try to run. Clint Kubiak with Kenneth Walker III, and with Sam Darnold, who ran the 5th most play action passes in the league last year. They want to set things up for that play action, so there's definitely going to be an effort to ground and pound against the 49ers. This is what they struggled against last year. No, I don't think that Alfred Collins is going to play a massive role early on. I think that the 49ers are going to go with Jordan Elliott and Clea Davis at that defensive tackle position. How are they going to match up with somebody like Gray Zabel, who's the rookie left guard out of North Dakota State? How is San Francisco going to take on that Seattle interior line, which wasn't good last year, but the Seahawks have put big time investment in over the course of this offseason with that first-round pick and Gray Zabel heading to Seattle. And Kenneth Walker is as good as they come when it comes to breaking tackles, right? I mean, we've seen some of the craziest runs from him. There was that one where, I think it was against the Cowboys last year, where he basically flipped but never hit the ground, didn't have a knee or an elbow hit the ground, and he kept on running. And this is a really talented back, and the 49ers are going to be thrown for a big challenge when it comes to their run defense. Anyway, it's been a fantastic month of August. Wanted to end August the right way, so wanted to give you guys the sunset. Maybe I could show you the bonfire and the Jeep in a little bit. Also, we looked at the horse jumping a few minutes ago. Lombardi herself, we put a mic on her, and this is her sport, close to her sport, and she was able to give us some good play-by-play. I actually learned a lot. Let's let her have it.
Is you'll see people chip, and it's when they're yanking on the horse's reins and yanking on the horse's face at the base of the jump, and it's like hitting the accelerator and hitting the brake at the same time, because you want the horse to go forward, but if you're pulling on their face, then you're telling them to slow down. Right. This is an oxer. It's an ascending oxer because the back rail is higher than the front rail. Boom.
Hasn't hit a rail yet.
This is what you call a triple, but it's a one stride between each rail. So he's good. It didn't fall.
So how hard is that to do those jumps in succession?
It's extremely hard, because if you mess up the first one, you're really highly likely to mess up the second and the third. But everyone that's been going through that one has been missing the second one. So they're not, the distance may just be a little tricky.
Does the horse feel a rider's fear?
Yes, absolutely.
So the rider has to be confident.
Yes. Your horse is a mirror of your emotions.
How's this one doing?
This one's doing really well. This rider's confident. This rider's well balanced. Yeah. He's riding forward. Ooh, he's riding forward to the base. I don't know if his back foot caught that or front. Is that okay with you? It's what you call, you got to ride every fence. It's like you can't quit even if you see the finish line.